Hello, awesome resellers. I just wanted to show you my sales for this weekend, and I also wanted to give you 10 things I wish I had known before I went to full-time reselling so that you guys could be have some foresight about what to think about ahead of times. And I'm just going to show you my sales while I talk about all of that. So I think the first thing that I really wish before I knew I was gonna start reselling is to have systems in place, because what happens is um, when you start to sell and you have a smaller inventory, you don't really think about like growing to a bigger scale. You just kind of think, okay, I'm just gonna sell some of my used clothes, and you don't think that anything might come out of it. Some people are like that, and that's kind of what it was like for me. And so if I had started earlier, I wish I had everything in an Excel spreadsheet, like what I purchased things, the date I purchased everything, also like an inventory system, like what items I'm going to put in each bin, so when I'm looking for things. So just having those things in place when you first start is a very, very important thing to do, because when you get bigger, it's going to be a headache. So instead of digging through a lot of items, you're just going to go, oh, I sold item B5, and you could go straight to the items. So that's something that I think that all resellers should start with from the beginning, okay? Another thing that I wish I had started earlier was starting social media marketing early. So, all these things about marketing and bringing more customers to your store through your Instagram posts, your Facebook posts, starting with Pinterest, even starting a YouTube channel. All of that early is really important to do, because then you could also grow your customer base. You could grow a bigger audience. So the audience would be like international, like everybody sees your items, as opposed to like just, you know, the US or whatever. And it's just a bigger audience that more people will understand your brand. And if you also want to go into like affiliate marketing, you could also link all those things as you're growing your tribe. And it's just so important to build a marketing strategy and a plan. And so that's something that I wish I had also been involved with before I started to get more involved with reselling. So I wish it had grown at the same time. Another thing that I wish I had done was to have a credit card separate from my personal checking account from the beginning, so that all my charges for anything reselling related is charged on that card, and then it would be separate from what I'm buying for my actual personal items versus my reselling items. So I highly recommend you start that right away. Another thing that people don't think of that you can do is making sure that your name is, you know, patented, or, that your domain name can be already taken, because someone might take your domain name. So I'm Bunch of Styles, and maybe somebody swoops in and just takes my domain name. And if I ever want to grow in the future, I would want to have that, established as my brand. Another thing is I would highly recommend is to find a niche. So if you're very, very good at picking hiking gear and Patagonia and those kind of things, then to really hone in on the hiking industry, building your brand there, understanding all the verbiage, as well as maybe even like associating like certain words and things like that with that kind of niche, like in all your descriptions and things like that. And like when you have a blog, you could even give content about hiking and stuff like that, and connect that with your products. So just having a niche so that customers will like know to get your items, and they'll also bring other customers to you as well. So just making sure that you're just not all over the place. Like I was selling home goods, then I was selling like shoes, and then I was selling stuffed animals. I was just all over the map until I started to niche it down to like more fast fashion and bloggers fashion. So make sure that you try to niche as early as you possibly can. Another thing that I wish I did was, I wish I was more detail oriented at inspecting my items. Like this has a lot of piling and I'm not very detail oriented, so I've gotten a lot of returns because I was not attentive towards all the little details of my items, and I could have prevented all those returns if I was more detail oriented at the store when I bought them before just bringing in a bunch of stuff. I would even buy mismatched shoes at times, and I'm like, what was I thinking? You know, so just kind of slow your roll and just pay attention to what you're buying, and making sure that it's of good quality, because you want to give good quality to your customers and things like that. Another aspect of reselling that I wish I had been more, if I could do it all over again, is not to react to negative trolls, to customers, to social media followers, and just ignore them. So if somebody on Poshmark is being rude to you, they're like, I could buy that at Ross for $5.99. How come you selling it for $8.99? Instead of saying, well, you know, there's Poshmark fees and how can you be so rude? Why do you say all that? You just ignore them. Or even if it bothers you so much, you could even block them and just go on with your day. Because you have to realize, like, is this person that important? Is that comment that important? Because you know that comment is going to be on your feed forever, and it's just embarrassing that you acted out unprofessionally and reacted in such a big way, right? So that's something that I wish I could take back, which I did. And another thing that I wish that you guys could also be in consideration is having boundaries with your business. So like boundaries with your business in terms of like your work hours, how much space you take up in your house, have boundaries with friends that want to buy items from you, just boundaries with people that take your time and just really are kind of wasting your time or whatever, and just making sure that you have boundaries with your own self-care. That's very important too, because in the beginning I was working like 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it was affecting my relationships with different family members and people. So it's so important to have that time for yourself so that you could re-energize and take care of yourself, and also to be able to be more present for your customers and present at the stores when you buy things and things like that. So this is really cool. And so that's something that I wish that I had done differently. And also to trust your instincts and guts. So I get a lot of questions like from customers or from resellers like, should I buy this? Do you think that this is a good price? Would you buy this? And you know, I might have my tips and advice, but I didn't check the solds. So I always advise people to check the solds and see if there's the similar style and size, because even if the solds had a size XX large and you have an extra small, maybe the XX large sold for a higher amount because for that plus size it was hard for people to buy that, so they'll pay more. So it has to be the size and the style. And then you could use an app called Sellhound or online, and that shows all the different solds for different sites, not just one site. So you could get a general picture of what to expect to sell, and try not to be the highest or the lowest, but maybe in the mid-range. And also the trend, like right now, is that a good trending item? Like, is that an item that was really hot and popular like 5 years ago when it sold for a really high amount, or is it popular now that you could buy it and sell it? And then also, you know, trusting your gut instinct and your experience. Like if you know that in your store your customers always buy a certain amount of styles of items, then you know you could, you know, buy that item. Like for instance, this tank top, my customers love these kind of blingy sequins tank tops, and I have a lot of customers in Florida, Texas, New York, and it's good to know your customer base. then I'll always buy those items, and I'll buy a lot because I know them very well. So if you ask me like, hey, should I buy this dress, and it doesn't suit my customer base, I might say like, no, don't buy that. But maybe your customers love that style, and that's like everything that your customer likes. So it's good to get insight and advice, but at the end of the day, if you check the solds, if you trust your intuition, if you know your customer base, then be confident in yourself to be able to choose those items. And try not to rely so much on the advice of others, because maybe their customers are different, maybe their experience is different from yours. So just pray about it, be very discerning about those things. And most importantly, I think it's important to just see the bigger picture. I think sometimes we get really tunnel vision, and then we get really like scared of like what we're doing, or really fearful, and that's also associated to like poverty mindset. So I'm going to do a video about that in the future. But like the way we think sometimes is like very scarce, and we like think like, oh my god, like if I don't buy this, then I'm going to lose out on a big profit margin. But my budget doesn't ask for it. Like, to think about like the bigger picture of your business plan, and what you want to accomplish, versus just like those little details that will get you so fixated and in fear of making choices, and just wasting your time. So just making sure that you have a big picture thought before you make small little decisions, and how it would affect the big picture. Okay, so just be at peace with yourself when you make choices, when you're making decisions. Pray about it. I always like talk to God in my prayers, because I'm Christian. Lord, what do you think about this? Like, is this a good choice for me? And I used to just always ask all these people, and it was a bad choice, because if I had listened to my friends and family, then I wouldn't have made as much profit or did as well as I did, because they all said, no, don't do that. And I didn't listen to them, and I prayed about it. So just make sure that you trust your gut, but you've also checked and you looked at evidence like solds and things like that before you do make those choices. So those are a few things that I really hope that you'll take into consideration before you do the business. And just even before you start, you could even talk to your husband or your family members, like, what do you think about if I had a lot of clothes in the house, in this room? Would that bother you? And have boundaries with all those concerns. If you want to know more details, I always post on my Instagram stories about specific personal life examples, as well as more advice daily. So my Instagram is bunch of styles, and then I also have my store down in the link. So if you like any of those items, I have multiples of these items. I also do coaching. If you want one-on-one coaching, I could schedule coaching for you. And I also have a Facebook reselling group if you need prayer, or if you need any spiritual kind of talk about those kind of things. That's also my Facebook group. So I hope you like this video. Please subscribe and share it with any family members or friends, because every time you like and subscribe, this encourages me to post more. And it could also help somebody who's struggling with their finances or lost a job to make an income for themselves. Thank you so much, and have a good day. Bye.